Welcome to Gambletown.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
last week was a bloodbath for us. What I don't even know if I want to go over the show record.
I
I
I
think I
mean,
had the best week of us.
it was a bloodbath for everyone. The sportsbook
Yeah.
made so much money last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always those weeks that happen. I was 2-3. Tony and Ryan were 1-4, but Tony was 2-0 on parlays, and he has now tied me on parlays for the season. He's gunning for the crown of parlay king. We've
Yeah.
still been pretty good on parlays as a show, I think.
I agree.
Overall, I feel pretty good about that, which makes up for our atrocious betting record outside of Ryan, who is still 30-20.
Ryan's
Um,
still the king.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ryan's still the king, but you know what? Here's the thing. All that matters is we are still profitable. Not as profitable as we'd like to be. And I think at this point, I'm going to pass it over to you, Tony.
All right. Yeah. Last week, I just wanted to say bad week. Usually at third quarter or fourth quarter of the early games on Red Zone, they'll have total touchdowns scored so far on the
Oh,
week.
yeah.
And it'll be 24, 28, 26. And last week it was 19.
Wow.
And I'd rather everyone do bad than just me do bad.
100%.
If I got money on the line. So suck for
Right.
everyone. So let's get back to it. I think this week's a little sneaky good. So we're going to start with our first one. We're going to go to New York where the Colts play the Jets. Jets are home favorites. They're minus 185 coming off the bye. Colts road win would be plus 176. The spread is 3.5 and the total is 43.5. Waleed, start us off.
I honestly, I have nothing in this game. I don't want to touch this game. Anthony Richardson being back and not very good means that I'm not interested in Josh Downs like I would have been. And I'm sure Brees Hall rushing over might be interesting, but I'm just last week sucked. I'm picking my battles, and this isn't going to be one of them.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Ryan.
I don't personally have anything specifically from this game. I will point out though that the Colts are 4-0 against the spread when playing teams with losing records. So it could be a pretty close game. If you want to bet that Indy plus 3.5. Um, but other than that, I don't personally have anything in this game. I mean, for redraft and fantasy, I've got a bunch of exposure to Brees Hall, so I hope he has a great game. But I've gotten rocked betting on him so far this year, so I'm staying away.
Okay. One of my top 5 bets of the week is in this game. I am rolling with Jonathan Taylor's rushing over at over 81.5. This is a Jonathan Taylor smash spot with Anthony Richardson back. You still have the RPOs back on the table. Taylor runs better with Richardson than he does with Flacco. Also, he's been killing it this year, guys.
They're
I don't know if
under
you
the
knew that.
radar too.
Jonathan Taylor is averaging 91.5 rushing yards per game and 5.15 yards per carry in his 4 games with Anthony Richardson at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think
That is a good
that's
stat.
mainly a consequence too of all the quarterback controversy that's been going on.
It's true.
You know?
And the Jets are a run funnel defense. The Jets face the 4th most rushing attempts per game from running backs. I want guys that are going to be
Interesting.
on the field. They're going to be on the field consistently. They're going to be touching the ball consistently. I don't want to be betting on guys that might get the ball. I want guys that are going to be touching the ball consistently. So Jonathan Taylor's rushing over 81.5, one of my plays of the week. Love him in DFS. I think there's other options there, but I like Brees too, but JT is my play this week.
True. I like it.
All right. Let's move on to Ryan's Aer Lingus game of the week, and obviously the game that everyone's going to be watching. Baltimore's going to Pittsburgh. Baltimore are road favorites at minus 167. Pittsburgh's plus 155 on the money line. Spread is 3. Total's 48.5. Ryan, start us off.
Guys, George Pickens. All right. He's gotten how many weeks in a row he's gotten 20 fantasy points? I think it's just been since Russell started,
Russ.
right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. However many weeks Russ has played.
Right. So, one of my top 5 bets this week, is from that game is going to be George Pickens over. I know you guys got it at like 68.5 on some books. On FanDuel, it's at 70.5 right now. So that's what I'm rolling with. He's gonna have another great game. He's jiving with Russ, and it's evident that this game's gonna be a shootout. The over under is 48.5, so that's showing me that this game's going to be an awesome shootout. I will say too, another point to say that this game will be very close. Um, Overs and Ravens games right now this year are 9-1. That's the best in the NFL. So let's get a barn burner going here. Get George picking some yards. Um, I also did my same game parlay from this game.
Okay.
And I have my millionaire bet from this game. So really quick, um, Mark Andrews. Ever since midway through the season, he has become I don't know if he was injured or whatever, but he has become a target monster for Lamar Jackson, and he has a touchdown in every game since like week 5 or 6, except for one. He's even had a game where he had two. So I do like Andrews this week. Fryermuth also against this horrible sieve of Baltimore pass defense. They're they're number like 32 against wide receivers, but they're also number like 27 against tight ends. So my millionaire bet this week is going to be a Pat Fryermuth touchdown at plus 195.
Love it.
Also, I said my same game parlay is from this game. So I went with my top five bet, George Pickens over 70.5. And then they parred that with the two tight ends. I went Fryermuth and Andrews, both over 2.5 receptions. That came out to plus 366. I put 10 units down to win a little over 46. Um, Oh yeah, and I said if I've said about the over too. Yeah, Ravens are 9-1 in overs this year.
I love it.
Sorry, I had a lot for that game.
No, of course. It's the game of the week.
Yeah,
Waleed, what do you got?
yeah.
So I also liked I liked Fryermuth a lot this game. I like Pickens a lot this game. I ended up going with Pickens as one of my top 5 bets of the week. At over 70.5 receiving yards. Baltimore, I mean, you can throw on them, and Pickens is the clear #1 target, and he's a big play guy. I'm going with George
Right.
Pickens.
You can throw on them, and also the way that Baltimore's offense runs by putting up a lot of points. It's just conducive to me and logical in my head to think that the Steelers, if they're going to win this game, which might be a sneaky money line bet,
Yeah,
they're gonna have to pass a lot. So,
yeah, they're gonna have to throw.
you know,
100% agree with that.
So I've kind of alluded to this a couple times over the last couple weeks, but I've been working on a wide receiver formula, and it has been Ryan and Waleed know because I've been sharing all the details with them, and it's on the podcast that
Yeah,
if you get a 6, you're going to get there for fantasy or betting. I
yeah,
mean, when the model hits with Rashad Bateman and Jalen Waddle, you know something's cooking.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
And
th-
those were guys that got scores of 6 out of
yeah.
8. This week
Okay.
we have 7s for the first time ever, and my first
Ooh.
7 is George Pickens.
Hell
Oh,
yeah. Hell yeah.
So
that makes me feel better.
George Pickens receiving over at 68.5 is my millionaire bet of the week. I will be
Okay.
rolling with George Pickens at minus 133 on Caesars. Not great, but I put $22 down. It'll bring me back 38.54, and I will hopefully continue my millionaire bet streak. I love Pickens here. I think he's the play. I think there's ancillary pieces you should want. You should really, if you're putting Pickens in DFS, Zay Flowers needs to be your run back. I want to point
Okay.
out too for DFS purposes, because I know there's some DFS degenerates that watch the show or listen to the show.
Yeah.
In 50% of his games, Zay Flowers is averaging 24.7 fantasy points per game. And then in the bottom 50, he's averaging 6. So,
So when he hits.
exactly. And that variance is baked into the price. I think Zay Flowers, like if you're telling me he gets a 50% chance of scoring almost 25 DK fantasy points, I'm going to roll with him every week and reap the benefits,
Yeah.
8 times a year.
That's a smart play, I think.
So, all right, that's the game of the week for sure. So let's move on to the much less exciting Waleed. I'm sure you're excited to kick off talk on this one. Minnesota going to Tennessee. Minnesota road favorites at minus 245. Tennessee are home dogs at plus 223. Spread is 6. Total's 39.5. What do you got, buddy?
I really don't have much on this game. I
Why
like
would you?
Justin Jefferson because he's Justin Jefferson, but
True.
he's not going to make my top 5 bets, especially because what is his line? Uh, where are you, Justin Jefferson? A lot of guys with the name J. That's what I'm seeing as I scroll down.
It's a Sublime concert.
He's
There's a lot of J's.
he's 78.5 at BetMGM for Justin Jefferson. That's a really low line. But the one I don't know, Chico Conquo I think is a sneaky DFS play this week in this game because you can throw inline routes to the Vikings, but does Chig actually like run the inline routes as much?
No.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't care. That's my thoughts on this game. I don't care. Like
right.
Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson might be interesting, but that's about it.
Okay, Ryan?
I have a couple interesting bets from this game. Nothing that made my top 5, just something I might go do a parlay with. There's 2 legs here. Tajay Spears over 11.5 receiving yards. Tajay is back, and more than likely Tennessee's gonna have to pass this game. And Spears can get that in one catch, and he's most likely gonna happen in the second half. Tennessee is a shell of itself ever since they let go of Hopkins. And also, I like the under in this game at 39.5. Tennessee's defense, pass defense is still really good. Justin Jefferson hasn't been doing as well lately. He's had 3 games, I think, in a row without a touchdown. That's, I think, the longest in his career. And ever since uh, Minnesota started the year perfect and they lost that first game, they've kind of been falling back to earth. So I do like the under, and I like Tajay Spears over 11.5 this week.
Okay.
My counterpoint to Tajay Spears receiving over would be that you're betting on Will Levis to check it down, and that seems like a gamble to me.
That's why we're in
Sure.
Gambletown, baby.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the only thing that concerns me. I do want to point out I kind of like Aaron Jones this week too.
Okay.
I because like Tennessee's run defense hasn't actually been that good. Like they give up fantasy points to running backs. I think I like him more as a DFS play than an actual betting play, but I think Aaron Jones has some juice.
okay.
He's at 61.5 on FanDuel. That's actually kind of low for him.
It's a good price
Um,
considering he catches the ball and he does other things. Like
sure.
they use him a lot.
Sure.
His all-purpose is 82.5.
Okay.
I will say that Waleed, I've heard you lament in the past about this types of line. So I was just looking it up and I decided to put some money on it.
Okay.
I went to Underdog because there you can parlay interceptions.
Oh.
And
Oh, really?
I did a $10 entry to win 27 on
Okay.
higher 0.5 interceptions for both Sam Darnold and Will Levis.
Ooh.
As a total. So as long as you get those interceptions.
I need one from each.
Oh, okay.
You should have put
Because I think
Jameis
I
in
want to
there,
say
too.
BetMGM has it where it'll be a 2 interception line, but you get both of them.
Oh,
Like it's a
both,
combined
two
thing.
combined interceptions?
For
Yeah.
the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
with
That's one I might. But you said it, and now I'm like intrigued because I forgot Sam Darnold is also in this game. And let's be honest, he was loving his interceptions last week.
I think I said this on the podcast last night. Early on in the season, we kept saying about Sam Darnold, he can't keep getting away with this. And I think he's going to stop getting away with this pretty soon here if he hasn't already. So,
See,
Sure.
I
don't know,
wouldn't
maybe I'm
surprise me if he gets things fixed a little bit. He has his flaws, but it's not so much that I think he'll get things fixed as I think that Kevin O'Connell will be able to mask some very serious issues with him.
yeah, well, we'll see what happens. All right, next up, Cleveland New Orleans. New Orleans are home underdogs. A Cleveland road win -110 on the money line. New Orleans home win is +105. Spread is pretty much even. You can get it between half a point to a point, and the total is 44.5. Ryan, start us off.
All right, guys. One of my top 5 bets of the week is it's it's hard for me to say this because it's from it's a Cleveland Browns player, but this guy has received an uptick in workload ever since Jameis came with his team, and I'm going with Elijah Moore's reception over, which seems low at 37.5 after getting 9 targets last week. Um, Jameis is still going to try and chuck the ball. New Orleans seems like they have a little bit of now that they got Carr back and they fired their coach. It seems like they got a little chip under their shoulder or chip on their shoulder after that win last week after firing Dennis Allen. So I think this game could be somewhat of a back and forth, meaning both teams are going to have to pass. Jameis is obviously gonna pass. So I do love Elijah Moore's line at 37.5 this week. Um, Other than that, I might do some stuff with Chubb, but I wasn't too confident in it. Maybe a Chubb touchdown. I know you guys got some stuff to say about Chubb.
I do. Waleed, you want to go first?
So what I will say about Elijah Moore real quick, because I also have him as one of my top 5 bets of the week, is the Saints really bad at defending the slot, which is where Elijah Moore takes the majority of the snaps for that team. So I think he's going to get some good looks, and his line is low enough that I will take the chance. And frankly, like, I'm going to dedicate this bet to Shane.
Hell yeah.
Like, yeah, because Shane still believes in Elijah Moore, so I'm going to believe in him for just this game.
He gave that shit up a long time
ago. I know he did. I'm gonna pretend that he still believes in it because Shane is very good at cutting bait quickly. Like when he realizes this is not working. Is he still in on Anthony Richardson, or is he giving up on that too?
We'll see. I think he's still waiting. This week will be a good test.
Okay. I do like Nick Chubb this week. The Saints pretty much, like, especially over the last 4 weeks, have the worst like run defense on yards per attempt. So I will take that bet. The only reason this didn't make one of my top 5 bets of the week is because Elijah Moore's line is a little lower, and because like Chubb is still coming back from injury, so that 60.5 line on FanDuel is high enough that I'm a little nervous. So I'm not gonna bet it. Oh, well, I'm not gonna bet it in my top 5 bets of the week, but I am probably gonna have him in DFS because I think he's someone who he's cheap and he has a really good matchup. And frankly, he's Nick Chubb, and I love Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I have straight bets that didn't make the show. I have Chubb at 60.5 rushing. I have him for a touchdown as well in one of my touchdown boosts. I think Chubb is going to crush. I think Cedric Tillman might fuck this week.
I was thinking that too.
Like Cedric Tillman, let's see, in 3 straight games, 6 receptions or more, 75 yards or more, and 18.1 fantasy points per game since Amari Cooper left. Saints are the sixth most passing yards per game to out wide receivers. I think Tillman is a great DFS play.
I also want to point out, like you said, 75 yards or more in those last 3 games. His line's 57.5. Like he's going to get looks, and Jameis is going to huck it. So that yeah, it's not a bad play.
All right. Well, I love Chubb for a touchdown and for his over. I'm not going to put it on the show bets because I'm sure that'll mean it'll hit because that's just how we do here.
Yeah,
all right.
That's what's killing me the most this year is I'm not doing that badly. But if you look at my show record, I am doing that badly.
Right. I'll hit like 10 out of like 15 or 16 bets, and like 2 of them will be the show bets.
Yeah.
Right.
Such is life. Que sera, sera. So let's go to the blowout of the week. Detroit -741 at home against the Jags, who are +700 at Caesars. Spread is 13.5. Totals 46.5. Waleed?
This is a Sun God week. I fucking love the Sun. The Jacksonville Jaguars are like legitimately one of the worst pass defenses, and Sun God's line is only 72.5. So not only do I have him as one of my top 5 bets of the week, I also have a parlay. I didn't do anything fancy because I was kind of in a rush, but I will kind of adjust this to give myself a boost because I will probably end up doing this with 100 yards for Sun God, 6.5 yards receiving, and a touchdown. In fact,
Okay.
you know what? I'm just going to change that right now because that's what it is. Because I love Sun God this week. He's one of the best receiver plays. I want him in DFS. I want him in. I want his over. I want his 100. He will have 100 yards receiving this week.
Okay. Ryan.
I'm staying away from this game. I might do a same game parlay later, something to do with the running backs. I might do a Gibbs and Montgomery over with like both of them to get touchdowns because I agree. I like Sun God, but the game script scares me where they might not have to pass. We just found out this morning too that Laporta is out, so that's better for Sun God as well. And it also sucks that we were on Jamison Williams last week because now he'll probably get 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I
Uh,
actually like
Um,
JMO a lot this week too. I think he
our
has a
sh-
really good matchup.
our Superflex show lineup on FanDuel has JMO in it, Ryan. So you better. I know you're. Ryan agreed to putting JMO back in the DFS lineup this week under
that's right.
protest.
I know. That's right. I forgot about that.
So,
We'll see. Um,
um, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, other than that, I don't have too much from this game. I might even go in and put like an alternate like 21 and a half points for Detroiters. I think it's gonna be like 41 to
Wow,
17 or
someone
something.
has zero respect for Mac Jones. That's what I'm hearing.
Have you seen him
Dude,
grading?
he's ruining my
Yeah.
my Brian Thomas Jr. fantasy season and my bets
Oh,
with Brian Thomas Jr. He
Fatty
ruined
just asked a
I need
question. Oh,
go
Oh,
ahead.
anytime
finish up your
touchdowns.
thought. Finish up your
Go ahead.
thought, and then we're gonna
I
get to
I was
Fatty.
gonna say I need like 150 more yards from BTJ, and if I don't get that because of Mac Jones, I'm gonna be so upset.
So,
You'll
so
get it.
Fatty asked in the chat a good question, and I think I have a cool way for us to answer it. Fatty
Yeah.
said, "Who do you guys like for anytime touchdowns?" So there's three of us. I want each of us to give our number one guy that we like for an anytime touchdown.
Ooh.
Waleed, since you were in talking game, since this was your intro to the game, why don't you go first? The whole week,
Josh,
who do you like for anytime
I
touchdown?
think Josh Jacobs is going
Yeah.
to be one of the anytime touchdowns I absolutely want to share of. Bears run defense is bad, but their pass defense is really good. So I think that you're just going to keep feeding Josh Jacobs this
Okay.
week.
Josh Jacobs. Ryan, who's your anytime touchdown guy of the week?
I hope whoever was asking this in the chat pars these together because mine's super chalk, but New England's run defense is fucking atrocious. So Kyron Williams is good for at least one in this game, if not two.
Yeah.
And you heard me say earlier, my millionaire bet is Pat Freiermuth touchdown.
Okay. So we're doing Jacobs and we got Kyron. And
Kyron,
my anytime touchdown guy of the week is actually in this game. I'm gonna do David Montgomery.
Yeah, that's always a
nice.
good choice.
So that's our little three leg. These are our anytime touchdown three legs right there. Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, David
Put them,
Montgomery.
put those together, and if you use your Gronk touchdown boost, maybe that'll be at like what, 400, maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely use my Gronk TD boost to get myself like a nice little 6 leg touchdown thing. It'll be like 4 running backs. It'll be George Pickens and maybe Sun God. I don't know. I haven't decided who the last guy's gonna be, but
I have Achan on there, Chubb, Pickens. I got a bunch of guys that I
ooh,
like to score this week.
Chubb is another one that I do really like. But
Yeah.
at this point, I'm very much about betting against the Bears. So
But the one, like if I had to pick one, it would be my original one was Josh Jacobs. My second is David Montgomery. So
yeah,
those are our plays. So I have stuff in this game. Both of you guys covered your version of this game, right?
yep,
Yeah.
Okay. So David Montgomery's over at 54 and a half rushing yards is one of my top 5 bets of the week. I love Monty this week. I think game script is going to be huge for Monty. I
yeah.
think this might be a line where he has 18 yards in the first half and then 60 in the second half. Um,
Yeah.
I have, let's see, Jaguars give up the 10th most adjusted yards before carry per attempt. They give up 4.1 yards per carry. I think this is a Monty smash play. And Waleed, I was saying earlier that George Pickens had my first ever 7 on my wide receiver model this week.
Okay.
So did Amon-Ra.
Okay. That makes me feel real good.
I had 3 7s for the first time ever after this is 3 weeks.
Oh.
And we'll get to our last one later on in the show.
So what I think I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to do a 6-legger when we get to the last one. But the 3 7-star guys, along with Jacobs, Kyrie, and Monty from a touchdown boost, I think that's going to be a fun touchdown parlay. I think that's what the play's going to be. Because I want to cash big on those parlays. Like when I use a boost, I'm not really worried. Like I'm trying to make my profit off of like the single game bets, but the parlays are to try to pad like to make big jumps for me.
Right. All right. So Ryan, start us off with Green Bay going to Chicago. Green Bay road favorites, minus 230 at DraftKings, plus 218 for a Bears upset at ProfitX. Spreads 5.5, totals 40.5. Ryan, start us off.
Guys, after the horrible Shane Waldron firing last week,
that firing was not horrible.
Sorry, it was horrible to me.
The firing of the horrible Shane Waldron.
Sorry, I worded it wrong.
I just know Tony's an English teacher, so like syntax matters.
It's a rough draft. It's okay.
I am currently it's the first time it's the first week in a while that I'm not gonna do like a Bears parlay just because like watching the Bears. I don't have anything personally from this game, so I'll let you guys lament.
All right.
Well,
Waleed?
what I will say is I have gone full 180. My Caleb bets are dead. I'm not doing it. I refuse to bet on this team. I will bet against them now.
Yeah.
I will no longer do the Caleb bit in DFS, like where Caleb was always my quarterback.
Waleed's gonna go in and put Green Bay like minus 28.5.
It's funny you should mention that. My millionaire bet of the week is actually Green Bay minus 14.5 at plus 310. That'll pay out $41. And like you might think, am I overreacting? I'm a Bears fan. Like the only reason it's not 13.5, I was gonna keep it at 2 touchdowns, but like I just want to be able if I win, because I think Pickens is gonna hit. So I just want to take over Gambletown. Tony's reign of terror must end.
I think if the Bears would have fired Eberflus, then I might have put money on like the Bears money line, because the chances of that stuff happening, like we saw with the Saints, where they just fire the head coach and the team gets fired up, probably because they didn't like the head coach. But they just fired the offensive coordinator. Bears are going down. Yeah, Bears are going down.
This team is quit on Eberflus, so I'm not, and I can't support him while this product is as bad.
Right.
Okay. So I have a couple bets in this game.
Oh, I do have one other bet in this game before we go on. No, sorry. I got a little... one of my top 5 bets of the week is Josh Jacobs over 70.5 rushing. Bears have one of the best pass defenses in football. Their run defense is not quite as good, and they've lost to like Andrew Billings, who was their big run stopper on the interior defensive line. So I think this is a game that's just going to scream Josh Jacobs just pounding the rock.
Okay. I also have the Josh Jacobs over at 70.5. To me, that's easy money. I mean, if he can rush for 95 yards on 13 carries against the Lions, could you imagine? Like, the Bears allow over 100 rushing yards to opposing running backs. They allow almost 5 yards a carry. They allow the most yards before contact per attempt. They have the best. He has the best defense adjusted yards before contact matchup of the week. This is a smash spot for Jacobs. I think with them being 5.5 point favorites, this tells me game script is good. Marshawn Lloyd has appendicitis now.
Good God. That guy needs to get healthy.
He has been on IR twice this year, and he got brought back from IR to find he has appendicitis. So holy shit. And that to me says Jacobs is going to get, they're not even going to try to kick the tires on the new guy because he's not healthy, which is something that I would have been worried about before. Not going to happen now. One of my other top 5 bets of the week is Green Bay -5.5. Bears are a mess. It's Toyotathon, which means that Jordan Love is going to be on fire. Every year he crushes in Toyotathon. And so I think that this is an easy Packers win. I'm actually like concerned about Waleed's bet because I can
Um,
see this being a 3-score game. Like LaFleur's not going to
do you
take his
guys
foot off the gas.
No.
Sure. And
Look,
I think, Green Bay's gonna win this game, but an interesting bet, I don't know if you guys looked at this, but Jordan Love interception. He's thrown an interception in 7 straight games, and the last time that happened was, Brett Favre in 2005. Brett Favre went on a 10-game interception streak, so he's gunning for that record.
yeah, he's you're getting negative odds on that. -128, and you got the best cornerback in football on the other side of him. And why am I drawing a blank on
Yeah.
his name?
For
Who's
who?
the Bears
Jordan Love?
cornerback?
Oh, Jalen Johnson?
Jalen Johnson. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? At
So
least we can bet against the Bears successfully.
Yep.
yeah, right?
All right, let's move on. We are going to go Miami hosting the Raiders. Miami -330, home favorites. Vegas +301 on the road as dogs. Spread 7.5. Line is 44. Waleed, start us off.
I don't want anything in this game, honestly. I will acknowledge that there are like Miami's running game against the Vegas run defense should be good, so Achan should be interesting, but I don't feel good enough betting it. I think I'd rather have Achan in DFS.
Okay, Ryan.
One of my top 5 bets, is from this game. Also from my, money line same game parlay. Uh, I have, Miami winning this game. Um, and what I also like is I'm gonna exploit the low line for Alexander Madison receiving over at 11.5. Miami should be winning this game. And Alexander Madison, I don't know why the line is this low. When I started looking at his games from this year, um, he's had over 23 yards in receiving 6 of the 9 games that they've played in this year. He had a couple duds last week. He didn't have any catches. But I
But in
think
the other 3 games, he's had absolutely none, 0.
right,
He
yeah,
either has 23 or nothing.
right. Um, so it's a little bit of a gamble, but this is Gambletown. Um, and I think the game script of that game is going to dictate at least one 12-yard pass to Alexander Madison, who is the clear lead back in that offense right now. They're trying some stupid shit with Zeus White, but um,
So, Waleed, you're saying that he's Jerry Krause. He either has 23 or nothing.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Let's
I
go.
think he's had, he I think his season high is somewhere around 50. But I was a sneaky line, and I was like, let's find a line from a not so interesting game people might not be on. That was my
Yeah,
thinking with this one.
I like it.
But
I mean,
yeah,
what I like to do is I max enter a $3 Superflex tournament every week on FanDuel, and I've been cashing pretty well. It's like an 11 entry,
oh,
$3 an entry
Madison
max.
Madison is cheap on DFS. Yeah.
But this is a game that I think is going to be very low owned in DFS.
Yeah,
Like
Outside of
if
A Chain. Yeah.
if there's a Tyreek game, this is going to be a game when he has very low ownership. Jonnu Smith is a cheap tight end
Yeah.
punt.
Yeah. He's
Like
only
he's got a
5,100 this week.
Yeah, with a great matchup.
Yeah.
You could even run it back with Bowers or Jacoby, depending on your level of spice. But I think Miami is someone that I'm going to sneakily target in DFS a lot as for stacks because of just ownership rates are going to be floor levels. Um,
Sure.
because Miami has been really not fun to watch. All right. So next up, Rams, Patriots. We have the Rams as road favorites, -205 money line on DraftKings. Patriots home wins +190. Spreads 4.5. Total is 43.5. Ryan, start us off.
One of my top 5 bets this week is Kyron's over on FanDuel. It's at 80.5. New England's run defense is absolutely horrible. And I think once this game gets going, after Kyron gets, 40, 50 yards on those first couple drives, they're just going to keep running. I see this game. I see LA running up the score on this game after how they played last week. Um, I know it's in New England. It's in Gillette Stadium, but I really like Kyron from this game this week. I think it's easy, probably
Ooh, we
close
got a
to 30 carry game, maybe.
all right. We got a question in the chat that I really want Ryan to talk about here because this will take like 15, 20 minutes for Ryan to think over.
Oh God, Hunter Henry.
Disley or Fryermuth?
Are you kidding me?
I mean,
Fryermuth.
he's your.
It's Fryermuth's week. Disley doesn't have the matchup this week. Fryermuth has the matchup.
It's a Fryermuth week. I do love me
Yeah.
like Tony. Tony knows this. When I was doing my best balls drafts, I was all over my last pick of the draft being Will Disley, just
He
because
was.
of how Harbaugh uses the tight end. That's been a pretty good pick for me.
Yeah,
Like for my last pick in the draft.
absolutely. And
The
he's had.
dismiss the dismissal ain't bad, but it's a Fryermuth week.
No,
I
it's
think
100% a Fryermuth week. I love him this week. He's got a
I
great
think
matchup.
Disley's gonna get you 7 points. He's gonna get you 4 catches for 30 yards. But
Yep.
Fryermuth has higher touchdown potential, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's facing a team. He's facing one of the worst defenses against tight ends too. So
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna say unanimous Muth.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Waleed, what do you have in this game?
this is a game where the thing that stands out to me the most is the Rams pass defense being so bad, and Drake May has been legit. He's been solid. His passing line is only on Bet Rivers 199.5. So all Drake May has to do is throw for 200 yards against a team that gives up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So and maybe not the most, but they're top 5 there. What are they actually when it comes to fantasy points to quarterbacks? Because that is a question I have, but I don't know that off the top of my head because my research is not quite there.
The Rams give up the 8th most passing yards per game at 241.3, and the 5th most passing touchdowns per game to quarterbacks at 1 point.
Which is why I'm going here with you know what? I fucked up what I did with this. I gotta adjust my same game parlay here real quick because I just realized what I actually want to do here is have Drake May over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and over 202 passing yards, and Hunter Henry at 36.5 passing yards.
Okay.
The reason I'm going with this parlay here is because I think it's a Drake May week. I think he's gonna get his over pretty easily. He should throw for 2 touchdowns. And Hunter Henry has been really good since Drake May came in, barring last week. God, last week.
You know
killed
what?
me.
I'm going to quote the great Jeff Crisco here. You
Yeah.
got to get Austin Hooper his touches.
Right.
That was driving me nuts because the way Hunter Henry was being used in the tight end matchup last week was like, oh, Hunter Henry's going to feast. And the tight end did feast. It just wasn't Hunter Henry.
The thing that fucked me up is we keep seeing like good passes, like 15, 20-yard passes to a white guy over the middle. It's like, yes. Oh,
yeah. And it's,
awesome.
yeah, it's not him. wrong white guy. Wrong white guy.
Right.
It was
Another interception bet that might be good is I know, let's see, Patriots only have 4 picks all year, but Matt Stafford is on a 6-game interception game streak. So one shorter than Jordan Love, but I don't know what his odds for interception are, but he might be sneaky in that.
All right. So I don't have anything directly in this game, but I'll talk more about Drake May when it comes time for DFS because I think that should be like Drake May and Anthony Richardson should probably be your go-tos if you're trying to spend up in other places because you guys, Drake May is the truth. And when everything shakes out, this is going to be considered a really, really good quarterback class.
I think so too.
Okay.
Real shit.
So
all the places that I got Drake May at 106 and 107 has been wonderful.
And
you guys
that's
looking. Go ahead.
Oh, it's the same thing that we had with Stroud last year, where it's like, oh, he fell because of destination, but the talent, like, bet on talent, man. Like, talent will sometimes like change that destination.
Right. Um, I think like when we look back at the first round of this year's dynasty draft, we're gonna be like, man, just gems everywhere.
Yeah,
Neighbors, Hart, Harrison, three quarterbacks, four quarterbacks, maybe depending on where you went. You got Brock Bowers, the top three wide receivers, like
BTJ.
yeah, top four wide receivers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically
Yeah,
the only way you screwed up in this year's draft, I mean, because McConkey hit, the only way
yeah,
Keon Coleman looks good. The only way you screwed up is if you drafted Jonathan Brooks or Xavier Worthy.
that's
you
true.
we don't even know that you screwed up on Xavier Worthy or
Dude,
Jonathan
give
Brooks.
it up, dude.
Jonathan
Okay.
Brooks
I was gonna
is
say,
what I meant to say.
get the fuck
Xavier
out of here.
Worthy is definitely. I still believe, but like the last couple of games I've watched of him, I don't believe as much as I once did. Is what I will say.
I
If
told you in the offseason, stay away from Xavier Worthy.
he
Look,
drew the nuts rollout, man, like Kansas
yeah,
City, Hollywood got hurt, Rashi Rice got hurt, he's got
yep.
Patrick Mahomes, and he hadn't done shit.
Yeah, the
All right.
fact that they traded for Hopkins says a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so let's move on. We are gonna go Atlanta at Denver here. A very exciting interconference matchup. Denver home favorites minus 126 on the money line, and Atlanta road upsets plus 116. Spreads 2.5. Total is 44.5 Waleed.
The only thing I'm interested in is the under because this game sucks. No, thank you.
Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, yeah, 44.5 seems kind of high for this game. I would think this game would have been more allocated around like 40.5. Um, but I'm surprised that Denver is actually the favorite in this game. I actually picked Denver in confidence pool to win this week. Um, but other than that, I don't have really anything in this game.
Okay.
Well, I think the reason
Um,
they're the favorite is because they might have the best defense in football.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Atlanta's defense is going to struggle, and I think that supports the narrative for the under as
Well,
well.
I don't know that Atlanta's defense is going to struggle. I just think that
No,
Denver has like an elite defense, but their
I
offense.
meant
Oh, their
Atlanta's
offense.
offense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
all right. So, um, hilariously, like defense adjusted expected fantasy points per dropback and route run. This is supposed to be like great matchups for London and Cousins, which seems weird to say.
Really.
Um, but like Drake London is still Drake London. As Kirk continues to get healthy, he continues to cook.
yeah,
Um, I don't have any bets in this game, but you guys sneakily in DFS to save money, you need Audric Estime in your lineup.
yeah. I agree with
Interesting.
that. I
Um,
agree
Where's the
with that.
price?
in
Oh,
the last,
his snap share has gone up so significantly.
yeah, he had 82.3% of the team's rushing attempts last week. He had two of
T
the three red zone rushes.
Yeah,
Where's he
Um,
around like 5,000, or is he more than that
on
now?
DK, I think he's like 52.
yeah. The
So
only issue is that like he's Audric Estime.
So
Like you don't
he'd
want
be like
the problem. Yeah, you don't want any running backs in this game. That's the problem.
yeah,
Or on that
that's the
team.
problem on FanDuel. So that mean he'd probably be around 6,500 then. That's a
I don't
little
know.
bit expensive.
I'll have to
Yeah.
look it up. So I will say this in full PPR, the Falcons have allowed six running backs to reach 15.3 or more fantasy points in the last four games.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's my DFS play. I like Kyle Pitts a lot this week too. He's got a great matchup, but I'd probably go Kirk, Mooney, Estime if I was doing a lineup build and I wanted a run back there. All right.
Okay.
So
Cool.
let's go elsewhere here. Let's go Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco home favorites minus 268 on the money line. A Seattle upset is plus 242. Spread is 6.5. Total is 48. Ryan, what do you got?
Um, Personally, I don't have any top five bets from this game. I am taking the Frisco money line in my money line parlay. A bet that almost made one of my top five bets this week is DK's over 61.5.
I got a
Um,
6 in my model.
let's let's just be real. San Francisco is more than likely going to be not dominating, but they're going to be playing ahead, I think, most of the time. And that just means that Seattle's going to have to throw. And even if DK only has 3 or 4 catches, I think that translates into at least 70 yards. So,
Okay.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
that's all I got.
he's one of my sixes on the week. All right,
Ooh.
I got nothing. Waleed, what do you got?
I don't really have anything on this game either. I was just looking at your notes on Kittle just
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
and I gotta say that's kind of that was something that made me nervous last week. I
What
think the
that?
Kittle train is over with
Yeah, that
CMC
McCaffrey's
back.
just going to start catching all those balls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was something that like I thought about after I made that after I did my Kittle over.
And to be
Because Kittle was kind of struggling last year too, with McCaffrey being healthy all year.
That's because
4,500 on DK for estimate. Let's go.
yeah,
Wow.
that's a
Yeah,
good
salary
price.
saver. All right, so I got nothing else in this game. Are we good? Can we move on here? Um,
Yeah,
if you're also looking to pay down at wide receiver, if you want to be a heavy running back week, Jawan Jennings is still mispriced.
yeah, he is.
Jawan Jennings is better than where he's priced at. Um,
Especially because yeah, with no Ayuk, he just becomes that guy.
mhm, absolutely. Um, he only has 175 routes run this season, but he leads the team in yards per route run and targets per route run. So,
Mm.
you should be valuing him as the team's wide receiver one. All right, let's move on to a game that everyone really likes. I know this is only a 3 game late slate, but I like all 3 of these games. I can't lie.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
So
least it'll be interesting, unlike last week.
yeah, so this is Buffalo, who are home favorites against Kansas City, minus 124 on the money line for a Buffalo win. Kansas City's plus 114 money line. Spread is 2. Totals 46.5. Waleed, start us off while I pee.
Well, I don't know how much I can start off because I don't really have anything in this game. I'm not
I got
really. Yeah, if you got something, go ahead and say it.
sure, I got some stuff in this game. I'm taking the Buffalo money line this week in my money line parlay.
Okay.
I also have a top 5 bet from this game this week. It's going to be Kareem Hunt's over 61.5 rushing yards. Right now, Kansas City is first in the league at time of possession at over 33 minutes.
Yeah.
And that just is going to translate into Kareem Hunt rushing yards. Also, I I don't think Kansas City, yes, they're 9-0, but they've snuck out some real crappy wins.
Yeah.
Not pretty wins. They're not destroying their competition like we're normally used to seeing them. And I think this home game in Buffalo translates into a Buffalo win. Granted, this is probably going to be a freaking awesome game to watch. I hope it's a
Yeah.
back and forth like we've seen the playoff games between these 2 teams.
Well,
Um,
oh yeah, I was gonna say like one thing is like I don't have bets in this game, but I am kind of excited for this game, so that's cool. What happened? I'm no longer on the screen.
yeah,
Was I on the
I
screen?
mean,
Oh.
I
No, it's
I think
hilarious.
you're
This
there. Um, yeah, so all I got, is one of my top 5 bets is, the Kareem Hunt's over 61.5 because, like I said, Kansas City's time of possession, number 1 in the league at over 33 minutes. That's gonna
And
translate into rushing yards, but I do think the Bills ultimately squeak out a win. Kansas City is not going to end this season undefeated, and if all the teams that could potentially beat them, I think Buffalo has one of the best chances.
Okay.
also, it's worth noting that Buffalo's run defense is susceptible. So
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
So perfect transition because my same game parlay is in this game and it starts with Kareem Hunt over 61.5 rushing yards. He like the Broncos held him in you know in check. But he had what, let's see. Buffalo allows the third most adjusted yards per carry. They allow 4.7 yards per carry. They allow the second most fantasy points per game to running backs. This is a Kareem Hunt week. This is also a Khalil Shakir week. Dalton Kincaid is out. Let's see. Khalil Shakir has 42 or more receiving yards in 8 of his 9 games, and he's had 4 or more catches in 7 of his last 8. Chiefs allow the fourth most receiving yards per game. and the fourth most yards per route run to slot receivers. Travis Kelce, on the other hand, has let's see, he has reached 4 or more catches in 6 consecutive games and 64 or more yards in 5 of his last 6. So my same game parlay is Kareem Hunt's over at 61.5 yards rushing, Khalil Shakir 40 or more receiving yards, and Travis Kelce 4 or more receptions. I got that at plus 188, hung $10 on it to bring me back 28.89.
Love it.
That's a little light afternoon action because I think that's what we're going to be watching most of on Red Zone in the late window.
What I look
Um,
forward to the most is bet coming in at the last 5 seconds of the game, because it feels like all of your parlays have been coming in like the money line is like, oh, it's not gonna hit, it's not gonna hit. Oh, it finally hit on the last play.
Hey, you know what
Wait,
they say?
Jameis Winston just threw a 30-yard pass. Oh, it hit.
Yeah,
They say scared money does make money sometimes.
love it.
All right, so been waiting all day for Sunday night. Cincinnati going to LA. I have breaking news from the podcast. Shane is back in on being a Chargers fan. He has lost his jadedness and is now all
Hell
in.
yeah.
Even
So
after watching that snooze fest last week.
he watched it live.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't
So
that much of a snooze fest. I thought it was my Air Dangus game of the week. I took the under on that. Ended up being what, 27-17. It was actually not
yeah,
that bad of a game.
Oh,
it
you're
was a
right.
ripper, baby. All right.
Second, you know what? It started off slow, but the second half there were a lot
Right.
of points
Yeah.
scored.
The under was looking great until after halftime.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I can't wait to fall asleep at halftime of this game. The Chargers are home favorites, minus 113. Bengals plus 108 on the money line. Spreads 1.5. Total is 47.5. Ryan, start us off.
Guys, only thing I have from this game, I believe. Yes, the only thing I have from this game is the Cincinnati money line. Um, Cincinnati needs to win this game to have viable playoff hopes.
Mhm.
Um, it's over if they don't win this game. So there's a lot on the line for them. Burrow has strung together like 3 or 4 very nice weeks. It looks like he's jiving with the rest of the team. We're gonna have Higgins back this week. So that's gonna help out Jamar Chase. Um, Look, Cincinnati needs to win. Another little betting fact too that helps with the Cincinnati win is the Bengals are 5-0 against the spread on the road this year. All right.
Wow.
They're just doing better on the road this year. So I'm liking a Cincinnati win because I want to see this AFC playoff race get crazy. Um, so yeah, that's all I got from this game.
I have breaking news. Um, the Browns have elevated wide receiver Kadarius Toney from the practice squad for tomorrow's game against the Saints.
Why? Who went out?
One of their linemen.
Oh, okay. So he'll play
So,
like 2 snaps.
So
ladies and
I guess my
gentlemen,
my
is it a
question is,
Kadarius Toney week? Who knows?
damn it, you beat
Oh
me
my
to it.
God,
That's what I was.
I'm gonna go into a DFS line and put him in now because he'll probably be $4,000 and he's gonna have just some stupid ass bomb ass 70-yard pass for a touchdown or something.
I
Or
gotta
he's going to bobble it and it's going to be intercepted in return for a touchdown. Who
I
knows
Oh
with
gotta
yeah.
Kadarius
say,
Toney?
for two dudes who I think are probably not people I want to hang out with IRL, the Jameis to Kadarius Toney connection is one of the most chaos filled
Oh yeah.
potential plays in all of football.
Yeah.
Like if you told 100 football fans, "Hey, we're about to see a pass from Jameis Winston to Kadarius Toney," 100 football fans would tune in to see how that turns out.
Oh yeah.
It's what if you're an anarchist, that is your dream matchup.
It's chaos, baby. All right, let's see. For this game, I don't have any of my top 5 bets of the week, but FanDuel gave us a Sunday Night Football boost, and this will give me a
Okay.
chance to talk a little bit more about one of my guys. So it's not Justin Herbert. I took his adjusted passing line at 175.
Is it Chase Brown?
No, as much as I like Will Disley, I did take his over at 3.5 receptions because I think 4 is a good number for him. But one of my 6s for this week alongside DK Metcalf is T. Higgins. So I took T. Higgins at 50 or more receiving yards. I threw all 3 of those together and got plus 288 with the boost. So $10 should bring me back about 30. So
Okay.
Herbert 175, Disley over 3.5, Higgins 50 or more receiving. I liked it a lot.
Ooh, love it.
Sure.
So that's all we got for this game. Let's move on to Monday Night Football. We have the Texans and the Cowboys. Texans are minus 319 road favorites. Cowboys are plus 300 at home. Spread is 7. Total's 41.5. Luckily, this is a night game, so their window won't be open and blinding players in the middle of the
Yeah,
game. Thank you,
right.
Jerry Jones, architect Jerry Jones. Waleed, start us off.
I really don't have anything in this game.
Okay. Ryan.
This will be fun to watch if you're a Houston fan. It's not going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be fun to watch if you're a Dallas fan.
What if you're a Cooper
Houston,
Rush fan?
I think it's going to be bad too. Houston, surprisingly, since week 6, has 15 takeaways, which is, I think, the best in the NFL. That's not going to be good for Dallas's offense. Houston is starting to come back after starting the year slow. Stroud still, I don't know, can't figure out what's going on with him. But we got Nico back, so I do like Nico this week. I think he's going to get a bunch of targets. And anything with Joe Mixon. The rush line is high at 86.5, on at least on FanDuel. So I don't know if I'll necessarily bet that. I might go in and bet hit like his receiving over 17.5. We can get that in one catch. Um, but I think I'm gonna wait until Monday afternoon or Monday morning to do some stuff in this game. But I do like Houston to just blow this game out. I don't think Dallas even has a chance.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I think Mixon's interesting though, even as a rush over, just because like outside of last week, every game he played, he'd run for over 100 yards. So like they're
Okay.
going to keep feeding him. So I think, and I think Dallas is just. I mean, especially if they get a lead, they'll just run it out.
So
Yeah,
I've been talking a little bit about my system this week, and I just wanted to point out that sixes tend to be pretty good. Sevens should be nuclear if you follow the logic. We've never had sevens before this week. Nico Collins has a 6 and a 7. No, I'm sorry. Nico Collins has 2 sixes and a 7.
Okay.
really.
So Nico's over at 72.5 receiving yards is my top 5 bet of the week that I feel best about. I'm getting Nico wherever I can. When they do single game slates for Monday night, Nico will be my MVP. I think that this game should be an absolute ass whooping. And if you're a Cowboys fan, I have good news for you. The Lakers are 8-4, and Duke is still ranked 6th in the country, and the Yankees played in the pennant this year. They won the pennant this year. So it's not all bad in your fandom.
Right.
So you can you can go back to enjoying the Lakers and the Blue Devils and the Yankees, but your Cowboys are cooked.
So that means the touchdown bet is going to be Sun God, Pickens, and Nico to go with those
That would
running
be the
backs.
three. Those are the 3 sevens this week. Yes.
Okay,
Sun
I'm
God,
here for it.
Pickens, and Nico.
Yeah, I'll throw money
Nico,
on that. Fuck yeah.
Nico Pickens. Yeah,
Got it.
I'm taking these notes here because I don't want to lose it.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, so those are our bets. So let's run through our top 5 bets of the week. Ryan, as the clubhouse leader, what are your top 5 bets?
Guys, this week my top 5 bets, and I think everyone has Pickens over receiving, Kyron Williams over 81.5 rushing yards, Kareem Hunt over 61.5 rushing yards. I've got Elijah Moore's over 37.5 receiving yards, and I've got a sneaky Alexander Madison over 11.5 receiving yards.
Okay. My top 5 bets of the week are Nico Collins over 72.5 receiving, Jonathan Taylor over 81.5 rushing, Josh Jacobs over 70.5 rushing, David Montgomery over 54.5 rushing, and Green Bay minus 5.5. Waleed?
On my top 5 bets of the week, I got Josh Jacobs over 70.5 rushing, Drake May over 199.5 passing yards, Elijah Moore over 37.5 receiving, George Pickens over 70.5 receiving, and Sun God over 72.5 receiving.
Okay. Waleed, is your last week being tied for first in parlays? Go ahead and tell us your 2.
Ooh, Well, I don't know that that's going to be the last week. I'll at least be tied next week because I got Drake May over 202 and a half passing yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And then I also have Hunter Henry over 36 and a half receiving yards. That pays out at 436 will pay out $53.60 for a $10 bet. And then my other bet is going to be Sun God. It's going to be a Sun God week, so we're going Sun God over 100 yards receiving, over 6.5 receptions, and a touchdown. That pays out 380 at plus 386 for $10 will pay out $48.64.
Love to see it. I am tied with Waleed for now, and before I leave him in the dust, my money line parlay is Green Bay, Detroit, San Francisco at plus 105. $10 will get me 20.58 in return.
Love that.
And my same game parlay, Kareem Hunt over 61.5 rushing, Khalil Shakir 40 or more receiving yards, Travis Kelce 4 or more receptions. Ryan.
My parlays this week. If you guys had the chance, there is a money line parlay boost as long as all of your legs are minus 400 or better. So obviously, I tried to get Detroit in there, but you can't because they're like minus 900.
Why can't it be
Um,
minus 1,000 or better?
Right.
so this week I'm going with the Rams, Miami, Frisco, Buffalo, and Cincinnati because I like the game scripts and I like what these teams need to do to win all those games. So
You got a
it
couple
ended
plus
up,
odds in there too.
yeah, Cincinnati plus like 108 or 112, something like that.
Isn't Buffalo also favored, or are they
No,
underdogs?
Buffalo's the favorite. They're like minus 132 because
Oh,
they're at home.
really?
Yeah,
Also because everyone knows Kansas City has to lose at some point.
right, exactly.
Okay.
Um, So I did that one with the boost, and that's one of those progressive boosts. So the more legs you have, you can get up to like 100% boost. So I only did 5, so that was a 35% boost. So I ended up with plus 1082 odds. I just put 5 on it to win almost 60.
Okay.
And then my same game parlay is a little bit more conservative. We all know I like to kind of get crazy with my parlays, but I just did a 3-legger. I went with the game of the week, in my opinion. I went with Pickens over 70.5. Andrews and Fryermuth both to have over 2.5 receptions. That got me plus 366. I put 10 units down on that to win a little over 46.
Okay. And as your reigning commissar, my Millie bet of the week is George Pickens over 68.5. Got it at minus 133. Putting in my $22 would bring me back 38.54. Ryan?
My millionaire bet this week, guys, to try and get back on the board. The best tight end with the matchup this week, I believe. Pat Fryermuth, touchdown at plus 195.
Okay. Waleed, for the bit, what do you got?
Well, I'm done with Caleb bets. The Bears have broken my heart too many times, and I'm going full heel turn. I'm taking the Bears. Oh, I'm sorry, the Packers minus 14.5 at plus 310 to win $41.
He is a
So
broken man.
I'm done. Like, no, I'm not broken.
I
I
don't.
still I think the team is talented. I just hate the coach, and I honestly think that like Poles wants to fire him and isn't being allowed to, which just
Yeah,
makes me hate the organization more.
and I'm shocked that like this bet is got that good of odds. I would think they would entertain this more around like 200, but I mean, I don't think this is outside of the realm of possibility of the Bears to
No,
lose by 3
you don't
touchdowns.
think because you're a Bears fan. That's why it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Oh, the Bears against the Packers? Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
right.
I'm wondering if I should have gone minus 20.5, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I want to point out there are kids entering and in their first year of kindergarten that were not alive the last time the Bears beat Green Bay.
Oh my
This
God.
is
2018. December 2018 is the last time the Bears beat the Packers. All
I
right,
mean,
so
at least it's a Bears home game, but it's still not going to help.
it'll be filled with fucking cheeseheads, unfortunately.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk our DFS plays of the week. We're gonna probably have some overlaps, but I decided, fuck it. I don't care about pivots. If you say a guy that I say and it's a guy I like, I'm rocking with it. You
okay.
guys can change it if you want to. I don't want to. When we have guys that we like, I want to reinforce it. So, Waleed, who's your quarterback play of the week?
Uh, it is Drake May. And I think on DK he is, what is his price here? 5,600. I think I can cheap out on him. He's got one of the best matchups of the week, so I like going cheap on him at quarterback and then spending up elsewhere.
Okay, Ryan.
Well, I'm going slight chalk. I'm going Joe Burrow coming off his 430-yard passing yard heater last week.
Okay.
And that was without Higgins. And Higgins is back this week in a game that Cincinnati needs to win. So I like Joe Burrow for over 300 yards and a few touchdowns, I think.
Okay. Josh gave us a quarterback wide receiver combo. His quarterback this week is Russell Wilson.
Who
Also,
else?
Who?
Evan, as we get closer, we're going to be
Who?
wrapping up in about 5 minutes, probably less.
So
Um,
Josh is going Russ with Pickens.
yes.
Okay.
All right, Waleed, your running back.
My running back is Josh Jacobs. I'm not fully paying up for him, but I'm getting a pretty good price. Like 7,100 isn't that bad when you look at like some of the other guys.
Okay, Ryan.
Um, in a game that's going to be dominated by running, I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
Okay.
And I realized that I forgot to tell you my quarterback play of the week,
Oh.
and it's Drake May.
Oh.
And my running back play of the week is Josh Jacobs.
Good
So,
God.
Waleed, your wide receiver.
Well, my wide receiver is Sun God. I'm on St. Brown. I'm going cheap on May so I can pay up for the Sun God, 8,000. But he's one of my favorite receivers of the week.
Okay, Ryan, your wide receiver.
I'm going to be pairing Burrow with Chase.
Okay.
Jamar Chase. And I'm going with George Pickens to no one's surprise.
Nope. I almost said Pickens, but I knew you were going to because like Pickens and Sun God are the two guys I got.
Hey, man, if we can agree on the first quarterback, running back, wide receiver, that's a pretty good core.
Yep. But it also is going to make it real interesting in the experts. Which, by the way, if you're in the football absurdity DFS, like go ahead and join us. It's fun.
Yeah, you should. You should. Please
Hell
do.
yeah.
Waleed, your tight end play of the week.
I'm going to pair Drake May with Hunter Henry. I think he's got a really good matchup, and I got to do it. I know you're doing it too. I know. I can see that smile.
No, sir. All right,
No,
Ryan,
okay.
your tight end.
So to help afford some of the chalk I mentioned previous, I'm going Pat Fryermuth. One of the best matchups on the weekend. He's only 5,300.
Okay.
That's on FanDuel, right?
Sorry, yeah, on FanDuel.
Yeah.
I am taking ultimate chalk this week, and I am starting Dawson Knox at my tight end.
Dawson
What?
Knox, really?
There's no Dalton Kincaid this week.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
All right.
And KC is not good at defense. Oh, I like that play a lot. That's
is correct.
smart.
That is correct. And that's why he'll be chalk, but I'll eat the chalk when needed.
Yeah.
All right, Waleed, your defense.
So let's see here. My defense of the week. Come back to me because I haven't actually figured out my defense.
Ryan, your defense of the week.
They're not the cheapest, but they're kind of cheap. I'm going since I'm predicting a Cleveland Browns win this week. I'm going with Cleveland Browns over the Saints.
I like that play a lot too. That's one of the ones that I kicked around. And Fetty is also joining us in agreement that KC's defense is terrible against tight ends.
Yep.
That's why I'm all about it, man. I'm all about Dawson Knox this week. My fantasy defense, my DFS play of the week is Tennessee.
Okay.
I think they're going to give up 24 points, 28 points maybe, but I also think they're going to get a pick. They might get 2 picks. Christian Darrisaw, bad replacement. His replacement is bad. Cam Robinson sucks. So I think Tennessee is going to cause a little havoc. I think you'll see a turnover or 2, and I think that'll get me to the 7 or so points that I need for it to be worth the cost. So,
Sure.
Waleed, your defense.
So unfortunately, I can't afford in the lineup I have, like in my main lineup, to put the Packers in, which would have been my defense. But I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons against the Denver Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are very good. I think Atlanta is an interesting matchup. So that's where I'm going.
Evan,
I
we're
like
about
it.
to wrap here. Just letting you know. So I will go through our DFS picks for Waleed, Drake May, Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hunter Henry, Atlanta. That's DraftKings. Ryan on FanDuel, Joe Burrow, Jameer Gibbs, Jamar Chase, Pat Fryermuth, and Cleveland. And for myself, also on DraftKings, Drake May, Josh Jacobs, George Pickens, Dawson Knox, and Tennessee. So those are our builds. We got week 11 ahead. Evan, we're good to go whenever you are. Any last thoughts before we go, guys?
Um,
No, I
not
don't think
really.
so.
I'm
Okay.
not that excited about this week, but
Oh, I
it's
love this
still
week. I'm thrilled.
really.
Yep.
I'm excited to get back in the winning column after last week. So
That's what
let's be
I'm
excited
saying.
about
This
that.
feels like it's going to be a bounce back
Yeah,
week.
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's all for us. You can check back here tomorrow, 90 minutes before the first game for Start and Sit Show with Jeff and Evan, who was our super producer today. You can also check us here on Thursday night for Farce Ball. Waleed writes the defensive streamers article each week for Football Absurdity.
I just saw the
Uh,
title of it for this week too. Is Jeff was like Waleed still managed to put the Bears in here somehow because I had the Packers as my number one streamer.
fuck else is new, my friend. And then Ryan and I, along with our friend Shane, do the TH Fantasy Podcast, which you can find on all podcast streaming services. New episode just dropped today. You will find out which NFL player is most likely to bum a cigarette from you outside of the gas station, but say never mind when he finds out it's not a menthol.
That's right.